But let's turn our attention now to our big focus on India next. Today, tech giant Facebook has announced its cryptocurrency Libra yesterday. The digital currency is all set to launch early next year. What makes Libra different is that it is backed by actual currency like pounds and dollars, making it very less volatile. Moreover, it's already backed by 10 companies like Spotify, Uber and eBay. It will also be launched by all Facebook platforms like WhatsApp, Messenger as well as Instagram. In India, however, this might hit a roadblock as cryptocurrencies currently are illegal and the matter is pending in the Supreme Court. The question, though, remains if Facebook with its 2 million plus is going digital when it comes to money, should we in India remove the legal roadblocks or exercise caution given how we saw the Bitcoin bubble go bust? And let's open this up. Pavan Duggal, cyber and digital expert, will be joining us shortly. Ajay Data, social media strategic analyst, will be with us in just a bit as well. Amitabh Kumar, social media analyst, joining us live in our studio. Sumit Peer, technology expert, will be with us in just a bit. Sri Iyer, author, will also be joining us shortly. Let me begin with you first, Amitabh. What do you really make of Facebook's decision to enter the cryptocurrency space, and do you believe that this is the future of monetary exchange?
Oh, wow. Facebook entering this space has been the biggest news. The rumors were around for the last 6 months. And with its amazing, huge database, it certainly becomes one of the biggest players. Also, the team with which it is proposed this idea has some of the biggest tech disruptors out there. And it will be really exciting to see in 2020 how this plays out. The existing cryptocurrency and blockchain leaders are definitely going to look forward to questions like interportability. Countries like India, where the law is still not clear because it's pending in the Supreme Court, we need to look at it from a legal perspective. And then it is money in a cryptic form. How will the whole financial institution and the ecosystem be disrupted by 2.30 billion users using something like this? 30 billion users using something like this are extremely exciting points.
Okay, and that's my second question. Do you believe that this is the future of monetary exchange? I'll just come to India and the scenario here in a bit, but as far as world over, is this the future of monetary exchange, cryptocurrency?
With the failure of Bitcoin, or let's say the bubble bursting of Bitcoin, it is a yes and a no sort of an answer. Certainly, fintech is the future. We've already seen it in India with the aspects of Paytm, WhatsApp transaction, Messenger transactions. But what it will play out is very, very difficult to predict. The next 2 years are going to be extremely important. The technology, the law, and most importantly, the user awareness is going to be extremely important.
Okay, let's also bring in Sri Iyer at this point. Sri Iyer, how do you see Facebook entering the cryptocurrency space, and do you believe that this is a futuristic monetary exchange, as far as the debate on crypto is concerned?
Well, I have been involved with fintech for a while now, so I understand the plumbings of this system. If Facebook has its way, you would not have to go ever to a bank. You would do all your banking using the Facebook app, and just like you're sharing pictures with your friends and family, you would be able to send them money. But the only fear that I have is that notice how many data hacks have already happened on Facebook, including Cambridge Analytica. So now that database, being able to get your hands on that becomes all the more important. And how Facebook is going to say that whatever data hacks happened in the past are not going to affect your future currency transactions, that remains to be seen. See, being good, being pervasive is a good thing. However, when you have baggage, it's very difficult to explain how people will have the trust to use Facebook for their currency transactions.
Okay, but at the end of the day, the India, future for cryptocurrency right now very vague is what Amitabh was saying, because the matter is pending in the Supreme Court. For now, though, it's illegal. Sri Iyer, do you believe it should be legalized?
Yes.
Do you believe we should look at this in India as well, considering that it's being it's booming the world over?
If you will just permit me for 1 minute, I want to explain something here. Bitcoin is an application on top of a technology called blockchain. Now, blockchain itself is very solid because Bitcoin as a technology has been proven. So the blockchain technology is good. anything that comes on top of that, for instance, you can even have voting on blockchain, and you can have real estate records, and you can have currency transactions also. So blockchain technology should not be blocked anywhere in the world, in my opinion, as long as a few safeguards are maintained. And these safeguards are, first of all, blockchain should be permissioned, meaning not everybody should have access to that, which is what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is open to everyone, whereas any application based on blockchain, such as cryptocurrency based on blockchain, should be only permission. Only a few people should be allowed to do it, and there should be security built around these things, because you can bet your bottom rupee, dollar, paisa, whatever you want, that people will try to hack into this. So you have to be able to prevent that, and not only
so obviously safeguards need to be in place, Mr. Iyer, but do you believe India should be open to exploring it at least? Because right now, as I said, it's currently illegal.
See, it's most important that India embrace it. You know why? Because doing this thing correctly, you get automatically KYC, know your client, AML, anti-money laundering, and KYCC, which is know your client's client. Nowadays, the West is no longer happy to know that the money that the client has is legit. They want to know if the money came into the client's account from somebody else, and if that person also is legit. That's what is KYCC, because people are getting cleverer and cleverer and finding new ways to launder money. For instance, there was a case where $10 million were laundered with $100 unit. That means imagine how many people it got distributed in $100 forms, and then it got re-aggregated back to 10 million at the destination. So there are lots of concerns about this. AML, KYC, those things automatically you get the benefit of that, and without that you would have people poring over books, accounts, ledgers, and so on, and you'll never be able to solve this problem. So in terms of the sheer magnitude of the problems that this thing solves, I would say India needs to embrace it pronto. In fact, India mentioned that it was going to look at blockchain in the budget statement in February 2018. So as a section 112, as a policy, India said that we will look at it. However, I think there is some education that needs to be done. I'll be happy to come appear in front of Supreme Court as an expert witness on this and help them understand this thing. I don't have any agenda here. I just want to be able to allow the lordships to understand what exactly is this, because it's not the easiest technology to get your hands on.
So a strong case needs to be made in front of the Supreme Court judges in this matter, is what you're saying. Okay, let me bring in the others also on the panel at this point. Sumit Peer, come in here. Is crypto really the future for India, vis-a-vis the entire world as well? Now, Facebook embracing it. It's already being backed by Uber and various other, big giants as far as, a currency for exchange is concerned. Do you believe India needs to embrace it too?
I think, Uday, if you look at crypto, what I agree with Mr. Iyer, that blockchain is established technology, and blockchain is used in a lot of things. In from supply chain, it's not only used with bitcoins, it's used in a lot of things, and it has advantages over there. So we developed cryptocurrency, which kind of comes over and above the blockchain, right? But cryptocurrency in the world over is still something which is evolving. It is still something which is not developed. Even if you ask of US, I don't know is it fully legal or illegal there. It's still in the gray area. If you talk about the European Union, they have not fully come up with an open stand that it is legal or illegal. It has a speculation. You see people trading bitcoins. You see the rate of bitcoins varying. If this thing is in such a fluid state, to get it into a country where we have aspirations of a $5 trillion to a $10 trillion economy, where we have just got rid of our cash economy, we are trying to, get rid of cash economy. Why do you want to bring something which is not tested, which is not ready, which is not accepted by the world? We may do it, but I don't think this is the time. Facebook has its own reasons to do it, or some other company might have own commercial reasons to do it. Obviously, the reasons are commercial to do it, because somewhere at the end of the day, Uday, the challenge is for these companies, they have to also protect their valuation, because valuations are exponentially high. Now the valuations are crossing from billions to trillions. Now, if you look at money bags in terms of dollars funding it, is there a realistic way? Now, you might have a scenario tomorrow, okay, I have a 2 trillion of valuation, 1 trillion is in dollars and another trillion is in cryptocurrency. That might be the future of the business. I don't know. So there is obviously a commercial reason why Facebook is doing it, and obviously, if you ask my opinion, we as a country are not yet ready to embrace something which has not been accepted in the world as a way of business and life.
Okay. And you know, are there needs then to safeguard it, Amitabh? You know, at the end of the day, Sumit making the point that it's in a grey area in the US. You know, the entire world has not fully embraced it as yet. So should India be the first to do it, looking at, you know, the fact that we're not the largest economy just yet. We're working our way there. We have so many people living in poverty. So obviously there are other burning issues that our policymakers are concerned with rather than embracing, you know, futuristic measures like crypto. But when we do embrace it, is it a need also to have safeguards in place? Because we also saw how people burnt their hands in Bitcoin trading.
Oh, correct. Certainly. I mean, in India, we also need to look into internet penetration when we are talking about crypto currency. Secondly, the devices on which this trading will take place. India is one of the most malware and ransomware affected device country in the world. It's 6th as per some of the studies done by various virus scans. So the security option is extremely important. Plus our low literacy also makes us vulnerable to various sorts of attacks. And now this is not just your pictures which could get stolen, this is your actual money. So we are talking about an agriculture economy, we are still talking about people who are living in the rural areas. There needs to be technology, the ecosystem needs to come here, user needs to be made aware, and the capacities need to be built before we can make this transition.
Okay. And
as Sir said, it's going to take a while. We cannot jump into it, we need to prepare ourselves for it.
Okay, let me in fact quickly bring in Shri Iyer. I think Shri Iyer, you wanted to respond to what Sumit was saying earlier?
Yes, I just wanted to bring up to date on various countries' position as far as blockchain-based currency is concerned. The Swiss are allowing a lot of the activity. In fact, Facebook's initiative also is registered in Switzerland, and so is Singapore. Now, in the United States, they have been approving blockchain-based transactions on a case-to-case basis. There is one district in Chicago, county is the equivalent of district in US is county. They have completely put all the land records of the people who reside in that county on a blockchain. And the reason they did that was because in Honduras there was a huge earthquake, and a lot of the records got wiped out, and at the end of the day, whatever was left standing, everybody claimed their ownership of the higher, safer areas, and there was no way to prove or disprove who owned that thing in the first place. So these kinds of things will happen, natural disasters will happen. So blockchain as a technology is here to stay. How you use it, like for instance, I said it needs to be permissioned, whereas I don't think Facebook plans it to be permission. They said it's going to be open source. So I have some concerns about that. However, you need to look at the value it brings for the everyday customer as well as the banks. In my opinion, you shouldn't use the route that Facebook is taking, like completely bypassing the banks and going from Facebook to MasterCard, Visa, and so on and so forth. I would always use a bank, because that's what gives you the customer the security that, oh, okay, my bank, which I was dealing with for day-to-day transactions, now is going to allow me to do the same thing, but it is going to be an extra section where it's going to be based on blockchain, where I get advantages such as I can instantly send money to my son who might be studying abroad, or I might be able to receive money instantly from my daughter who is working abroad. So these kinds of things are not going to be done in the existing setup. It takes days for settlement to happen. There are loopholes in SWIFT. You saw the Punjab National Bank crisis. Those kinds of things will be completely removed. That is the most compelling reason. KYC, AML, and 0% leakage when transfers happen across the countries.
Okay, Ajay Data, come in here. Yes, Sumit, you want to?
I wanted to make one point. I think, Uday, we have to look blockchain and Bitcoin separately. Blockchain, I fundamentally agree, has a lot of value. Even in the supply chain management, even in the medicines, even in the hospitals, it cuts your, of what we call friction cost by 15%. There are a lot of international case studies in the world, and I have worked a few of them, which I fully agree with the advantages of blockchain. But Bitcoins is a cryptocurrency. I think that one of the biggest fears that world had that now, when you are bringing AML and other things into the place, a lot of people, a lot of black market, or a lot of mafias in the world are going to store their money. A lot of drug lords are going to store their money in bitcoins because there's no way you can track a bitcoin. I think, did you read one of the interesting case studies? There was a person, I forget the name, he died recently and he had a few $1 million converted into bitcoins, and there is no way that money can be retreated. Right. You know, it is a code, it's a currency. If you are trying to come back on terrorist funding, you're trying to come back on, you know, unstashed money in tax havens and all, the more you get AML stronger. If you have an option like a cryptocurrency, obviously these guys will move to cryptocurrency and there is no way you're going to find where the money is. It's practically impossible. Technically it's impossible to find.
Okay.
Once they do it.
Ajay Datta, come in here. Ajay Datta, what is your take? You know, being a social media analyst, being someone who, of course, tracks technology very closely, you know, Facebook stepping into the cryptocurrency market, does that show that this is, you know, the monetary exchange for the future? Otherwise, why would Facebook bet so heavily on it?
Facebook has to bet for many reasons because they are declining every day and they have to keep doing something new.
Correct.
I have just come to bring in everybody's attention on a news on February 2019 in Jaipur. I belong to Jaipur. One CEO of a cryptocurrency company died.
That's an example.
Everywhere it was in Jaipur and everywhere it was in the news that 1,000 crore rupees is in search and people do not know how they are going to get their money, which is in cryptocurrency form. This is, and I also read an article similar to that says that cryptocurrency in the private hands and considering to replace the currency which is giving and backed up by your banks and Reserve Bank of India or something like that, it is completely non-comparable.
Okay.
Cryptocurrency coming from the government and backed up by the banks has a different game point rather than a cryptocurrency coming from a private company and people are taking this currency as a replacement of the currency which is in their hand.
Shri Iyer is responding to you.
Well, see, we should distinguish between Bitcoin and blockchain very, very clearly. Bitcoin was intended to be anonymous. Nobody knew who the owner of the Bitcoin was. So you could use that unit to trade among countries and move value around. Remember, the reason it became so popular was that drug dealers could no longer use cash to move, could no longer use cash to move from place A to place B. Whenever, let's say they produced drugs in one country, sold it somewhere else, the money got paid in the second country, and that was getting stuck there. So what they tried to do was to get innovative about it. What they did next step was they started acquiring extremely expensive paintings, and that would be the way of compensating from place A to place B. And when that also got caught, they jumped onto Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin does not come with the know your customer AML. It just came out like, it grew like weeds, and now people are realizing that the Bitcoin concept is not the right way to go, but the blockchain technology is the right thing to go. So let's not confuse the two. Bitcoin is not going to be for long. Once fintech based on blockchain takes root, everybody from the source to the end. Remember I said KYCC, not only know your client, but know your client's client. To that level, you can monitor where the source of money is coming from. So that is the most important thing today. Nobody has any problem if someone moves $1 million after paying taxes on that money and if the money is legally earned. There is no problem with that. So that distinction becomes automatic when it is done correctly.
But you don't know how to, you have to back it up with money in the bank as well, is what Ajay Datta was saying earlier. Ajay.
100%. You cannot go directly and do it with Facebook. I'm completely against that.
As a technology or cryptocurrency as a day-to-day currency. Cryptocurrency as a currency, I think we have a long way to go. We have achieved some success here, and we have to do a lot more things to ensure that what we're expecting is actually being delivered. Cryptocurrency as a currency in day-to-day affair has a different ball game altogether. My personal view is, till it is not backed up, till it is not served by government, till it is not served by my bank, it has no meaning in my life. It has no meaning in people's life. Some people and technology enthusiasts or the people who believe in new things to be invested, they can continue to do so, like Facebook is trying to do. However, if it is not backed by your bank or by your government, I think it has no meaning in people's life.
Yeah, I think, Uday, I agree with what Dr. Datta says. There's another aspect we are forgetting, because whenever we issue cash in the world, there is an X amount of gold reserves, which we have to keep in a federal bank or a gold reserve. Against that, the currency is issued, right? This is how the US Treasury bonds and others are issued. Now, if you suddenly want to look at how did the Bitcoin start? They started by people, notorious people to transit money. This is how it started. It was somebody who developed a lot of codes. Against that code, you could store that money, and you exactly will know it's a super Swiss account, I would say, a super Swiss mobile account in which I could give you my codes, you could give me my codes, and the money will transit. Yeah. But again, it has to be backed by money. You have to have a mechanism of issuing money first, then getting the Bitcoins into the picture. The most dangerous aspect of the Bitcoins is that, I fully agree with Shreya that blockchain and Bitcoins have to be completely separated. Blockchain has a lot of things it can do, but we as a country are definitely not ready for Bitcoins, because we have just got rid of our cash economy, or rather trying to get rid of our cash economy. Do you want to bring something which is highly speculative? How do you control terrorist funding? How do you control money going out of the country? How do you control a lot of other things which we already have a lot of problems on? And I especially want to make one point on Facebook. You see, nowadays the internet is getting more and more controlled. Now you have seen what is happening between US and China. The trade is getting controlled, internet will get controlled. We had Mr. Mark Zuckerberg coming down to India and offering us his flavor of internet, which Indian government rightly rejected. We say we want to have net neutrality. You know the number of lawsuits opening against Google for their biased, they have a bias in showing up you the results. So the fundamental part of any internet-based business is, if tomorrow internet gets regulated, if tomorrow America Online says, if you want my users to open Facebook, you have to pay me, let's say $10 or $1 per user. So now these people are really looking for alternate means which are not controllable, because they need a mechanism, they need a vehicle which is not controllable by all. And Bitcoins or a cryptocurrency is excellent made. You can build a network on that where nobody can track nobody. Okay. There are things like dark web which are still existing in the world, and anybody, and this is full of hackers which are in the dark web. So again, dark web guys are not trackable. So if we want to create another dark web kind of a situation, then obviously they will have their commercial reasons, but it is a dangerous game to go into.
Yeah, Shreya.
You see, the important thing that we need to understand is Libra, as well as some other means, they all have some assets backing it. Now, assets could be in the form of, say, they have like a bank balance of, say, $1 billion, and that $1 billion will back up. Let's say they issue 1 billion tokens. That means $1 billion, 1 billion tokens. So one token is equal to $1. So that asset backing will be there, and Facebook does plan to do that. I mean, that's why they've got all these big names behind them. So when you have an asset backing the token, then there is a certain amount of measurability, and if the token does well, the asset goes up. In other words, the token itself can be traded, because they'll say, okay, people are now beginning to transact on Facebook, so the Facebook Libra token should worth, in my opinion, $1.10 instead of just $1. So you see, so that is already in play. The important thing that I think India needs to remember is 1.3 billion people, and so many new ways money laundering is happening. How are you going to, you cannot keep track of this manually. You have to automate it, and you do it in a way where you start pilot programs, you start making sure that the proof of concept works, and then you start slowly expanding. Not the GST kind of experiment where on 1st July, everybody got shoved down their throat the GST. Not that way. Do it in small pieces.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, a smooth transition is needed. Will India also, welcome cryptocurrency with open arms? Is, of course, the big question, the matter pending before the Supreme Court.